What's up, guys? Ryan Reaves finally got traded to the Minnesota Wild for a 2025 fifth round pick. There was a lot of discussions that he was not going to be interested in playing for the Rangers anymore because this didn't have any space for him. He was complaining about his ice time. And, it's been weeks. They're trying to find a trade partner. And finally, Minnesota is the team for him. So, Luca, take it away. What are your thoughts on this trade?
Well, I think it's an okay move. I don't really think that it's a big move or anything crazy like that. I mean, Ryan Reaves hasn't really been anything special for the Rangers this season. I know last year he was okay, and with New York he had 13 points in 69 games. But Ryan Reaves is a tough guy. He's a guy that is gonna get into fights. He's a guy that's gonna throw the big hit. He's the guy that's gonna piss the other team off. That's what he is, and I think he'll bring some tenacity to the Wild that I think they need. Some he they need some physicality. I think he replaces a lot of what a guy like Jordan Greenway can do in Minnesota. So I think he could do that. But I think that also he's not a guy that's going to get you points. So if Minnesota's expecting him to come in and be that depth goal
Yeah.
scorer, that's not happening. He's really just a guy that's going to get in under people's skin, and he kind of is what Nick Delorier was to them a few years ago. I think that's what he's going to end up being. And
Well, Nick Delory is a superior player, in my
yeah,
opinion, compared to him.
that's
But
it. But I'm saying like the
yeah,
physicality part of it, right? But look, I mean, he asked for a trade. He didn't really play that much this season. He was a healthy scratch a lot. His numbers aren't the best. I think that I think it's surprising that the Rangers even got a draft pick for him, in my
well, yeah.
opinion.
According to this tweet right here, I'm a little surprised that Ryan Reeves could still fetch a draft pick of any kind. Look at his numbers, and just looking here, where is it from J Fresh?
Yeah,
Not exactly the best numbers in terms of
he's just
analytics.
he's just not good. Like that's just basically it. And he's like I said, he apart from the fact that he hits and fights and gets under people's skin, he doesn't really do anything else. And so
Yeah,
like I'm not saying it's a bad move. I think the Wild are just trying to bulk up and get bigger and get nastier, and I think they do that with this pick, like with this trade. They trade a fifth round pick in 2025, which may likely not turn into anything, but you guys always remember that guys like Kirill Kaprizov was drafted around there, so anything is possible. But with a fifth round pick, but I don't think it's that bad of a trade. I think the Rangers may. I think the Rangers win it. If you have to ask me about who would win the trade, just because at the end of the day, they move $1.7 million in cap space for basically nothing, and for a guy that wasn't producing for them. And I think at the end of the day, like that's cap space they can use to
yeah.
potentially
One
go
year
to.
left as well.
That's
So
it. Like that's cap space they can use to potentially make a trade somewhere else and potentially add at the deadline or before that. So I definitely think this is a good move for the Rangers. I think Chris Drury did well here. As for Bill Guerin, I mean, time will tell. If Minnesota, if he makes an impact on Minnesota, then it's
well,
definitely
look at his comment
a good
here,
deal.
Luca. According to Michael Russo, who chatted with Bill Guerin, the general manager of the Minnesota Wild, on Ryan Reeves, it's not for the fighting. He's a big personality. He's got a lot of energy. He's got a lot of swagger. We've been missing that. The energy he brings is really good in size. He's gonna help us get our identity back. Okay, I understand that move. Okay, I mean, it's a little bit weird, just looking at this trade a little bit because the Minnesota Wild is a team that is trying to move out cap space, and this is the player they bring in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For what he does, for what he does, I mean, it's not really worth it. He's a guy at most getting paid what $1 million. Yeah, okay, 1.75 million, 1.8 million, whatever he's getting paid. Whatever. I guess if that's what you really wanted to bring to the locker room, okay, fine, I get it. A guy who hits right, 2,645 hits, definitely a hitter. Penalty minutes skyrocketed, 992. 114 points in 767 games. Uh, since entering the NHL in 2010-11, he ranks third among active players in hits and sixth in penalty minutes. So a lot of penalty minutes there. So a lot of fighting. In terms of his age, 35 years old, the right winger. He's an enforcer essentially, one of the last enforcers. Um, yeah, fourth line player,
I
drafted fifth round in St. Louis,
Like I'll be
2005.
honest, this is a move that like like, to be honest, it's a move that makes sense if you're a playoff team, which I think Minnesota can be. I know they've struggled at times this season.
Yeah.
If they're a playoff team, it makes sense to have a guy like that. But I just, I'm not saying I don't understand it because at the end of the day, it is really early. But it is like it's a change of scenery for him. But look, he's moved around. He's bounced around the league. You know, he was in St. Louis, he was in Pittsburgh, he was in Vegas,
Well, I
he was
mean,
in New York.
he was in St. Louis for a long time, and then
Yeah,
he got traded to Pittsburgh, and I remember they traded a first round pick from their that respective draft year, which was
what a
you know
waste of time.
that was way too much. But then he goes to Vegas, and he had an impact there. He was a fan favorite, and then he didn't really do much in the New York Rangers. I think the only reason why they brought him to New York is because they wanted to fight Tom Wilson with that whole like Washington Capitals versus
Yeah,
Rangers feud that they had.
and I know that Gala was a big fan of Ryan Reaves when he was in Vegas. I know that Gala coached him, and I think that at the same time, like I'm I know that Gala was a big fan of him, but at the same time, like this season especially, there's just no room for Ryan Reaves,
Yeah,
especially with what the Rangers are trying to do. I just don't think it makes sense to keep him around, especially with this situation. But I think where he slots into Minnesota is going to be interesting because I'll be honest. Yeah, he maybe plays on the fourth line, but I don't think he becomes an NHL regular. I don't think he's a guy
yeah,
that's
he's gonna
like,
be in and out of the lineup, but
that's
I
it.
do believe that if there's a one player that deserves to leave his spot to Ryan Reeves, because I do view him in the same regard that he's not an actual NHL starter. He's like a I don't know, a fringe NHL starter, probably an AHL player, Nick Patan. Nick
Yeah,
Patan would probably be swapping in and out with Ryan Reeves. They're both right wingers as well, so I mean, they're both Fort line players, so I mean,
yeah.
it only makes sense, right?
Well, yeah, and I think what's interesting too is like, look, like Minnesota's top nine is really good. They have a really good top nine, but I think that like their fourth line is going to be more of a checking and enforcer line. I think he fits on that fourth line. And to be honest, that's probably all he does. He won't play penalty kill. He won't play power play. He's really just that guy that's going to go and get under people's skin. But I don't think he plays a lot. I think he's a guy that's like you said, he's going to be in and out of the lineup, and that's okay. I mean, he doesn't have to. He's 35 years old. He's past his best, and I think that in this game, the game has changed a lot from where it was a couple of years ago, and I don't think enforcers are there as much. I know that in Montreal there's Jack Eye and there's a few other enforcers around the league, but nothing too big. Like Zach Cassian as well is another one, but apart from I think those three, there isn't really big enforcers. And I think for Minnesota, like they're a team that lacks a lot of hunger and a lot of tenacity. They haven't
Yeah,
really seen much. They've only had really two games of Jordan Greenway, who I think is a really good power forward for them, but he hasn't played much. I think Reeves brings a lot of physicality that Greenway has originally, but the scoring is definitely not there
yeah.
for him. So I think it's a good move, like I said, if for a team that's trying to make the
Well,
playoffs or
well,
for a team
yeah.
that's in the playoffs. But besides that, it's
Well,
nothing
look,
different.
the guy that literally just to reinforce, what we were saying, Nick Patan, 1 game, 0 points.
Yeah.
Ryan Reeves, he's played what, 12 games, he has 0 points. So those guys in and out of the lineup, in my opinion. I like Luca was saying, I do believe that the New York Rangers did win this trade just to clear up cap space. And if Ryan Reeves does bring personality and better, I guess somewhat of a culture change a little bit in terms of the locker room, hype up the guys, I guess, hype man, then okay, yeah, that's a good deal. But in terms of asset management, the New York Rangers win. Luca, do you have any more thoughts, or that's
No,
pretty much it
besides
on
that,
this
I
trade
think that that's
breakdown?
pretty much it, to be honest.
Perfect. Well, guys, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and make sure to write in the comment section below who won this deal, the New York Rangers or Minnesota Wild. Did they win this trade? And obviously, I don't know what happened there. But what I was about to say is that we would like to hear from the New York Ranger fans and the Minnesota fans. Guys, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and once again, we'll see you on the next episode of the Young Guns podcast.